Space Cowboy, just play that track.
Mr. Space Cowboy. Hello, San Francisco. Nice to meet you.
Groove slam, work it back. Space Cowboy, just play that track. Gaga in the room.
I need more to feed my pop heart dance. New York's music, pop culture. My name is Lady Gaga, and this is my house.
Space Cowboy, just play that track.
Hey celebrities, it's your boy Vitaly and welcome back to Vitaly Space. On this channel we're desperately trying to bring back the 2007, so you better join if you're new. If you've been Lady Gaga's fan from the very beginning, then you probably remember the guy we're gonna talk about today. He would always wear this same suit, iconic Beats headphones and very 2007 haircut. DJ Space Cowboy. Lady Gaga has always been joined by him during the Fame era. They did everything together, from random studio sessions to small gigs, and eventually big concerts. At some point they were inseparable. But then Gaga's career started blowing up and Space Cowboy has completely disappeared from the public eye. In fact, he's been nowhere to be found since 2011. And his concerning disappearance led to all kinds of speculations from the fans and the media. The other day I was sitting around, minding my own business, and he just randomly popped up in my head out of nowhere. So I went for a little search to quickly find out where he is now, and then probably forget about it the same minute. But little did I know that there is absolutely no info about him out there since 2011, and I'm not even exaggerating. And it seems pretty confusing to me. So technically he stopped existing pretty much right after he and Gaga separated ways. But I'm gonna give you a little spoiler. After days of endless research, I was able to somewhat find out whatever happened to him, even though some of you might take it with a grain of salt. And let me tell you, at one point I wanted to give up and change the video topic, since it was pretty impossible to find something, but my inner Gail Hellstorm, after the book You're Dead I'm Rich, did not allow me to fail.
I'm Gail Hailstorm, author of the book You're Dead, I'm Rich.
But before we get started, I want to clarify something. If you're having a little déjà vu moment, yes, I've covered this topic on my channel before, 2 years ago to be exact. I don't know if you've noticed, but recently I had to delete a lot of old videos from my channel, for many reasons. I don't want to get into that today. And in those videos I've covered topics that I cannot imagine my channel without. They were a huge part of Vitaly Space, and Space Cowboy is one of them. So I decided that once or twice a month I'm just gonna remake those topics. Not to re-upload it, but to actually refilm it, like I'm doing today. With my updated opinions, improved English, and an overall different version of me. But no worries, the new topics and new videos are not going anywhere. Just wanted to give you a little update. Okay, and the last thing. It came to my notice that 60% of you legends who watch my videos are not subscribed. Can we please change that today? I'll wait. Do it now, you'll forget later. And check out my previous videos after this one, they are severely underrated. Okay, as always, let's start from the very beginning.
All the boyfriends hate me 'cause their girlfriends love me.
Space Cowboy, the real name Nick Dresty, was born in March of 1975. He's a French producer, songwriter and DJ. Born in France and raised in England, he first started recording in 1992. Throughout his career, he recorded under several names, such as Nicky Fabulous, DJ Supreme, DJ Chrome and Kings of Rhythm, releasing pretty hardcore music. His first breakthrough hit, The Wild Style, was released in 1996 and peaked at number 39 on the UK charts. I told you, pretty hardcore.
My early works were done when I was in college, Nick said. At the time, I was trying to enter engineering college, much to my parents' horror. But I went to work in a studio, and the senior owner called me Space Cowboy all the time. He was crazy about my work and kept me on. So that's how that name came about. And from that, I was always interested in futuristic stuff. And I always thought that Space Cowboy should make music that sounded like they came off of a spaceship.
And just like that, in 2002, Nicholas changed his stage name to Space Cowboy and did a cover of Prince's song I Would Die For You, topping the UK dance charts. He debuted his first studio album, Across the Sky, in 2003. And 2 years later, his second long play was released, titled Big City Nights. But it was his 2006 album Digital Rock that helped Space Cowboy to gain some credibility. It was released that year in the United Kingdom, with an early edition of the dance hit My Egyptian Lover, featuring the one and only Nadia Oh. Which has become a dance hit, by the way, and was added to BBC Radio 1. Let me tell you, in 2006, the song was playing in every single bar around Hollywood. Because of the constant promotion on the radio, Space Cowboy caught the attention of Cherry 3 Records music label, whose catalog also included an up-and-coming artist from New York named Lady Gaga. They thought that he would be a great fit to help Gaga on her then upcoming album, The Fame. The label made an introduction and the rest is history. They immediately hit it off creatively.
I remember our first conversation was on the phone, Cowboy recalls. She was talking about sequins, disco balls, Prince, David Bowie, and body paint. Basically, she was speaking my language.
And after the call, the two met up in LA, where Gaga invited him to join her on tour. They also collaborated on a few songs together, such as the iconic Starstruck and Christmas Tree.
Light me up, put me on top. Let's fall la 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 la. Baby, could you blow my heart up?
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Space.
Ooh. How did you meet Lady Gaga? And what was it like collaborating together in the studio and in her live show?
Extraordinary, you know, what a life experience. Like, I was introduced to her, I just signed to Cherry Tree Records, and we spoke on the phone. It was a conference call, and so it was just Gaga and I on the phone waiting for other people to be at the conference call. So we were discussing what we did on New Year's, because it was just after New Year's. So we found out, like, she celebrated in New York, I celebrated in London, and we did, like, she had really similar experiences. We were talking and we really hit it off on the phone. So I came to Los Angeles, I was invited over, we met in the studio and we made Starstruck. She was like, well, you should come on tour with me and help me, you know, you can spin and help put the show together and all that. So I was like, okay, well, wicked, you know what I mean? I'd love to do that. And I just thought it'd be like a 2-month thing, you know what I mean? Cool. And, you know, we do our thing and ended up being like, yeah, over a year, you know what I mean? And she conquered the world.
Groove slam, work it back. Space Cowboy, just play that track.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about the gigs they've done together. As soon as Gaga's debut album was released, in August of 2008, the label invited Cowboy to join her as her personal DJ on concerts, club performances and small gigs. The reason I'm saying small performances is because it was still pretty early to consider going on tour, since it was her first ever release as a signed artist, and obviously they wanted to see first if things are gonna work out or not, even though her first singles were beyond successful. Little did they know. And just like that, they started doing every single small gig they could possibly get. Speaking of, do you remember this iconic IKEA parking lot performance in 2008? And do you recognize this guy by any chance?
Stop it, bro. You're scaring me. Okay, now I need a picture on my phone. It's our honor to introduce you, Lady Gaga!
It's so surreal that we can witness such a legendary piece of pop culture history. Just imagine you're going to IKEA to get yourself a freaking couch to have explosive diarrhea on, and there's Lady Gaga performing in the parking lot. Then, in October of 2008, she performed at the Dallas Fashion Week, 2 months after releasing the album.
Now this is my first single and it's #1 all around the world. It's called Just Dance. What's the name of the club?
Notice how people pretty much had no idea who she was. They started dancing only when Just Dance started playing, because it already had a moderate success at that point, but nobody knew who the artist behind that single was. And just like that, by 2009, Lady Gaga started blowing up like crazy. And I remember at that point my sister would be like, well, she's gonna release 3 songs and then disappear. She's one of those 2-hit wonders, I bet. Little did she know, little did she know. The Russian household did not get the gig back in the day. What a time to be alive. In March of the same year, she went on her first tour, the Fame Ball, to promote the album, joined by Mr. Space Cowboy.
What was it like touring with Gaga?
It was amazing. I got to see loads of places that I thought I'd never see, and I got to first time see America.
The tour ended in September of 2009, and he obviously have gained some serious exposure. And a month later, the history happened. Space Cowboy released his iconic album that made him pretty famous in the United States, Digital Rockstar. I still remember this cover art from when I was a kid, mostly because of the headphones, not gonna lie.
All the boyfriends hate me cause their girlfriends love me, they love me.
Your new album is called Digital Rockstar.
Because it's digitally made, like, and it's sort of rock star music, you know what I mean? Because the songs are largely about songs on the road. Like, you know, I toured with Gaga for over a year or whatever, so that kind of shaped a lot of the album because it was recorded during that time.
It was pretty obvious for the fans that he was trying to experiment with the sound. The tracks on the record sounded more like commercial pop songs. Now, I have to admit, it's full of autotune, but I still love it. Yup, I have a pretty concerning taste.
Go crazy, that's why their boyfriends hate me.
While making the album, he teamed up with Red One, who also has become famous for producing some of Gaga's hits. But before the album, he released some of the singles first. The new version of My Egyptian Lover, Fallen Down, as well as I Came to Party, with German glam rock band Cinema Bizarre. I have a full video on them, by the way, so definitely check it out after this one. As well as Tokyo Hotel. If you know, you know. My Egyptian Lover was heavily used by Lady Gaga herself during her performances, as well as to promote her singles.
Everybody say hello to Space Cowboy, please.
How you doing?
This record's called Egyptian Lover.
I briefly want to mention that Gaga's second album, the 2009's Fame Monster, have some of his credits as well, on the songs Monster and So Happy I Could Die, for example. And we can use the following tweets as a proof of that. So happy I could die /Monster. I'm so happy, my heart is beating fast, he tweeted. The Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. I love that girl. And as I've mentioned before, he was also working with then up-and-coming British singer Nadia Oh, who by the way has also disappeared from the public eye in 2013. But at least she's on Twitter sometimes, so I guess she's alive. But I feel like the reason why they stopped working together was because the Nadia Oh project did not gain the recognition they were hoping for. But let's be honest, she had plenty of hits, especially in Europe.
Quick update. Last year in 2023, Nadia graced the world with yet another hit, Rain Dance. Comeback of the century, OMG.
Splash, splash, everywhere, rain falling from the air, make them do the...
But anyways, back to Space Cowboy, the year 2010. On January 31st, Gaga and Nick were publicly seen together for the last time. That night she was nominated for a total of 4 categories. By the way, one questioned whether he could see something, as his view was blocked by Gaga's massive headpiece. He said, quote-unquote, "No, I really couldn't, it was impossible, you should have been there." In 2011, he attended the Grammy Awards once again, and it was the last time Space Cowboy was seen in public. That night he tweeted, "Tonight's performance is gonna be bonkers, go Gaga." And yeah, there is absolutely no new photos of him after this event. But in 2012, he would once again remind society about his existence. He produced and released the last record with Nadia Oh, and then went missing, basically.
Are you watching the video without liking it again? I caught you red-handed.
Before we get into all the conspiracies and the real reason behind his disappearance, I want to introduce you to the guy by the name Brandon J. Sullivan, also known as DJ VH1. Brandon J. Sullivan was an up-and-coming DJ in New York City when he met Stephanie Germanotta, then a struggling artist, in 2006.
What is the connection with Lady Gaga?
You know, we were friends for years before, and when I first started DJing in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, I needed a go-go dancer, and I met this girl just out one night, and we started working together more and more, and we used to perform a lot with our friends, Semi-Precious Weapons, who are a great band, great bunch of boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember a lot of people always ask me sort of, has the superstardom fame changed Gaga at all?
Absolutely.
And it absolutely hasn't. She is, all that's happened is more people are getting to meet our completely insane and totally awesome friend,
Nice. That's
You know, it used to be that we would
Yeah.
go out together and she would get wind that like my ex-girlfriend would be at a party. And if her ex-boyfriend at the time was too busy that night, she would take me as her fake date, and she would just march me right in there. She would just grab my hand and be like, oh, don't talk to her. And march me right by there. So you have this pop star friend doing stuff like that. She's always been this way, though. She's always remembered her friends.
So basically, he was her first ever DJ. But as soon as she got signed to the label and moved to LA, he was replaced by guess who? Yup.
Space Cowboy just played that track.
And luckily, Brandon actually shed some light on the situation. In fact, in 2013, he released a book about Gaga, titled Rivington Was Ours. I've read the book obviously, and let me tell you something, it's so freaking inspiring.
We had this whirlwind where Interscope all of a sudden got interested, and they flew us out to shoot the video for Just Dance. And at the very end of the video, we had done a nice 14-hour day, and we took all the extras to go see Semi-Precious Weapons, our favorite band.
And people can spot you in the video, of course.
Yes, for Just Dance, there's a backup
Few
dancer in
people
that
have heard
too.
that song. There it is.
But when he arrived to the set, he realized that he was replaced by another DJ, Space Cowboy. He also describes this moment in the book. Check it out.
That's when I got my second very strange phone call, this time from Leah. I just wanted to let you know that we aren't going to have you play the DJ in the video. Are they cutting the DJ part? I asked. That makes sense. Well, I still want to be there for her. We said the same thing, Leah assured me. We still want you and your look in there, but we are going to go with someone else as the DJ. Okay, I said, I really was okay with this. I am a real DJ. I don't just play one on a music channel no one watches anymore. Who? Space Cowboy is going to do it. The guy from that Christmas song? Weird choice. While on set, he looked up at me, and that's when I realized I was staring. Space Cowboy? He followed my voice hopefully, wondering if he might be needed on set. The gangster of love himself. We introduced ourselves. How's LA treating you? I asked. Good, he responded. Then one of the staff members asked, Where's Gaga's DJ? Right here, we said, in such perfect unison that it may have gotten misheard as production perfect reverb. The emptiness between us made it possible. Space Cowboy and I then took mirrored steps forward and looked at each other. I laughed. He laughed too. Stupid East Coast boy doesn't know what's real and what's pretend on a location shoot in LA.
This is Space Cowboy.
Now, some people say that Lady Gaga banded her friends as soon as she got signed, but I think it has nothing to do with her, it's just the label. At that point, Space Cowboy has already had a decent career, so the label thought that it would be a great fit for both of them to work together. Long story short, I just wanted to let you know that Space Cowboy was not her first DJ. And finally, it's time to investigate where the heck he is now. If you go on Reddit, you'll see that a lot of people have been wondering the same question. Now, let's go through some of the main theories that fans have been talking about. And the main theory is that he's a made-up persona.
By searching his name, I only found social media pages that are pretty obviously fake and abandoned in 2012. For example, his Twitter just repeats the same nonsensical phrases over and over. This is leading me to think that it may have been a made-up person all along, maybe played by an actor. Knowing Gaga, I would not be surprised if she made up a DJ persona to collaborate with.
But obviously it's so far-fetched. Cowboy started making music way before Gaga, in the 90s, and once again, he was invited to the same label as her, so that explains why they started working together. So it doesn't make any sense to create a new DJ persona when he's already been known for being a DJ for years, if that makes sense.
The other two theories is that he either doing something else under a different name, or he is dead.
Okay, wait, that went too far. First of all, let's take a look at his social media profiles. For example, Twitter. His last tweet was posted in July of 2012. Yo, cardio in studio, so much good music out, hashtag peace. And since then, nothing, 0 new tweets. But if we go to the likes tab, we can see that in 2014 he liked this random tweet. And a year later, in 2015, even more random one. And by the way, he's not following Gaga anymore, and his last tweet about her was in 2011. Now, let's go ahead and try Facebook. Pretty abandoned too, as you can tell. The last update was in 2012, when he posted a new profile picture. But then I noticed this. April 2020, Space Cowboy updated their bio. And I totally get it, maybe that was not him. Maybe that was someone who was trying to cover up his alleged passing. But what if I tell you that I know that it was him? Stay tuned. The fact that some kind of activity happened on his page gave me a lot of hope, so I kept looking. Okay, we know his real name, we know that he's French and grew up in the United Kingdom. There is gotta be something out there that eventually will lead us to an answer. It's impossible to vanish completely, so I searched Nicholas Dresty, musician, United Kingdom. And there was this website that really caught my attention, Tiger Tracks Limited. As it turns out, it's the independent record label founded by Space Cowboy himself in early 1999. Specialties: Space Cowboy, Nadia Oh. It seems like the company is still active. Let's investigate. If we go to the record label website, we can see that it's also active. To be honest, I didn't expect that, because all of the Space Cowboy websites are now disabled. On the front page, we can see Nadia's music video. And I was like, okay, if this record label is officially registered company, they gotta pay taxes, right? So I went to some United Kingdom government website to see the company's tax filing history. And no baby, you will not believe what I found. In the filing statement, we can see that the company declared some documents in March and July of 2024. Which proves our theory that the label is still active. Directors: Nick Dresty, Samantha Dresty. Now, does this name sound familiar to you? It for sure does to me. Mr. Nicholas Dresty. And at this point I can proudly assume that he's fucking alive. He declared his taxes this year. This month actually, July 2024. My inner Gale Hellstorm did not let me down.
That's it. 2 teens dead.
Nick Dresty. Occupation: director. Status: active. I don't think that I would say that the status is active if the person was dead. Let's be honest. I can assume that Samantha is probably his wife or some other relative. By the way, when I posted my previous version of this video 2 years ago, many people and even some YouTube channels were like, well, we should take that tax info with a grain of salt. It doesn't prove anything. Yeah, maybe it doesn't, but it's definitely the closest we've been to Space Cowboy since 2011. And by the way, another piece of evidence that people like to use to prove the theory that he's alive is his Spotify profile. Apparently in 2021 he posted an album with some background music. But this is what we really have to take with a grain of salt, not the tax info. You can see it right here, you guys, but to be honest, I don't believe it. The Spotify system is so freaking loose that you can basically post anything to anybody's profile as a new release, and Spotify is gonna take months to remove it. It happened to a lot of my musicians friends, so I know what I'm talking about. In fact, some random people posted new music from their profile as an official release. Spotify, what is wrong with you? And I think the same thing happened to Space Cowboy.
By the way, remember I mentioned the release of Nadia's 2023 song? Well, if we go to the song credits, guess who we will find there as a producer? He's alive, y'all.
If you're curious about my perspective on whatever happened to him, here it is. I assume that when he stopped working with Lady Gaga, he tried to go solo, and it either didn't work out, or maybe he got exhausted and went back home to enjoy his family time. I cannot say whether they had a beef or not, or maybe he just unfollowed her for no reason, which is kinda questionable. Probably we will never know the truth until he goes on the record himself, but it seems like he's not planning to come back anytime soon. I don't know if he still makes music, or maybe he just owns that company for the tax purposes. But one thing I know for sure, I'm so glad that he's alive, and does what seems the best for him. Okay, celebrities, I feel like this is it for today's video. I'm a little sick, by the way. My voice was so raspy this entire video, hope you didn't mind. I made it. Don't forget to subscribe, because apparently 60% of people that watch my videos are not subscribed, which is a crime against humanity, pop culture humanity. Do it now, I'll wait. And of course like this video, cause you guys are the only thing that keep the show going, truly. Follow me on Instagram at Vitaly for the record, it's my new profile by the way, so I really need your support. And I will see you in my next video this week. And remember, your ex is effing toxic. The best way to make him bitter is to become successful. Bye legends!